Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio, 6:15 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday.
U975 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio and Multicultural Television MCTV, bringing you back where you belong. Part of the Rhythms Communications Network. To advertise with us, call 218-7820.
Welcome back. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I come like Anil boy. I doesn't like to get vexed, but I vexed right now because you cannot tell me that people don't have water for going on 2 months and nothing happening. Nothing happening. Nah, that could never be right. That cannot be right. That cannot be right in this country. I just don't want to say nothing much right now, because as a man doesn't like to apologize. So for me not to apologize, Corky, when I'm angry, I don't say nothing, so I don't come back and say sorry for. From small, that is how I does operate. Anytime I'm angry, I don't say nothing on that subject because I don't want her to come back and say, I'm sorry, because I'll tell you why. Take the call.
Good evening,
Good evening, caller.
Yes, my brother. I want to talk to that man who's speaking on the show there.
Which one? Victor Roberts, Jeffrey, or Corky?
Mr. Victor Roberts.
You're speaking with him.
Okay, Mr. Victor Roberts. You see this thing Kamala did there and send this person, not to say that person. Why they couldn't send you as a senator? They wasted time with these people and them, man. All they get on Kamala, he goes and tells she doing shipping his man.
Caller.
I hear you.
Right. Let me tell you how Victor was does operate. I am doing what I have to do in this country, and what I am doing is not for any favor from anyone. I am one of the individuals that work with merit, and the political leader.
The work I see you doing. You, if they put you as a senator, they would not do you a favor. You deserve that.
But listen to this
caller. I'm not saying
caller.
you want favors. That
I
is
hear you.
stupidness,
I hear you.
man.
I
That
hear
is
you.
stupidness. I want you to run that by Anel for me, please.
All right, caller.
Thank you. Caller, I'm laughing. You see, caller, what has happened is that don't take it yet. The political leader will have a strategic plan as to what she want to do and when she want to do it. So all of us follow what the leader said, and we also support the decision of the leader, because we would not be able to see what the leader is seeing. And sometimes the leader might have you for a big job, but the time ain't reach yet for that job. And sometimes the leader may have to use somebody else, because it's like a football game, The leader will know when to send the forward, when to tell the midfield to overlap, but she always have to the defense and the goalkeeper intact. So it's a strategy by the leader, and of course we support the leader's strategy. Take the call.
Good evening,
Welcome, caller.
Good evening, Cascade.
Yeah, Cascade.
There is a man that has called himself Barakpo, Mr. Barakpo, on a PNM station. He can't see that is an elderly lady in Barakpo that calling for water.
That is in Kelly Village, not Barapo. Kelly Village.
All right, but he can't see that. What kind of government is this that have people in a village without water for 2 months?
But Cascade, watch under
And
your
then you
bridge.
say-
Watch under your bridge where we came the other day, how much water we in there.
Listen to me. And then you want people to sanitize. How they sanitizing? I have something to tell these people in Cascade Valley Road. A bunch of them, about 12 of them, running a little group called a village council. But all of them is PNM. And they don't see nothing about the other people within the community. Them only see about themselves and the PNM to tell all you this evening. or you're going on the wrong wheel. And you see every car that go over a stone, a sharp stone, or a nail in the tire that's bust, careful, you know. All you're succeeding with that consular business, this wrong, you know. You see that consular thing and that P&M, Mr. Stuart Young, no, all the faults are cascade. And he doesn't show himself to correct none here in the consular, Mr. Jones.
Thank you,
them
Cascade.
12 you see them 12 popping up and keeping the ills of the community under a carpet because they're reporting, you know. Them reporting to Jones and Stuart Young, you know. I want them to know that this wrongs, it ain't easy. Up and down the road, you see to come down from up in Cascade Valley Road, or they're going to meet fire one morning to block that road. Thank you.
Thank you, Cascade. You see, boy, Cocky, let me tell you something, eh? You see that water issue, boy? That water issue, and know what it is like. Cascade, Cocky, let me tell you something. Down on my side in Palo Seco, there is a number of individuals who have to buy water. And if you don't buy water, all the talk, everybody just talk. If you don't buy water, you don't get it. Thank God for a certain individual with a small truck who does take a chance to go and get that tank full and bring it by you. He does charge $250 for the transporting of the water. Right? And if it wasn't for that gentleman, people go worse than it become. Because when you don't have water, you can't flush your toilet, boy. You can't flush your toilet. When nature call on you, you cannot flush your toilet. You can't bathe. You can't cook. You can't send your children to school. What is going on in this country? Kelly Village calling night and day and night
Nobody near
for
that
this
woman.
water, and nobody listening. Let me tell you something, you know. I go make all you listening, you know. I will make all you listening, Kelly Village. You hear what I'm saying? If all you don't want to carry water in Kelly Village, we will make all you listen. That is what we have to do. Because it seems as though it's only one language this government doesn't understand. One language alone. Welcome, Gola. No, that is overbearing now, man. Cocky, I know what it is to be without water, you know. I know what it is. Boy, that upset me, I telling you, boy.
And this woman say over 2 months now, you know.
That is madness, I telling you, in this country. And people just saying down like if it's a big joke in this country, boy. Cocky like it's a big joke, you know. One of the caller called earlier on. And what they're saying is true. They teach these people to take anything. Any part of the body. If it's a next government that even attempt to do what this government doing is war in this country. You hear what I'm telling you? Welcome, caller.
Mr. Victor Robert.
Yes, sir.
And to Mr. Jeffrey.
Yes,
and
good
to
evening,
Mr.
sir.
Gopie, a blessed night to you. Who used to run this program before Mr. Anil? Who put Mr. Anil Roberts on this program? And it was a big thing. Is that person still here with you all? Conside.
Well, caller, I don't know who put Mr. Anil Roberts on the program. I know I on the program be through Mr. Anil Roberts, but I don't know who put him.
All right, so. All right. Let me come and give you. You see, I just follow something biblically. When I don't just work something for material gains at all. It don't pay. It don't pay. Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bishesa, everybody using her name to get their victory. And when they're using her name to get their victory, it's like Jesus Christ died for sinners. It's no different. And when you could watch the people who sponsoring these talk show programs, it's the 1% sponsoring it and buying over what they want. They're leading you to temptation. They're not delivering the people from temptation. You see what happened last night? The people's power. When people stand up for honesty, dignity, and transparency, but when you feed, you're killing your own mother, your own brother, your own sister, from lawyers to Chief Justice to the people in Parliament. Are they honest people, sir? You talk man, teeth, and cheese and butter, I understand that. A wrong is a wrong. God gives you two good hands to do good things, good mouth to speak good things. But Mrs. Kamla Prasad, I asked her for 15 minutes of her time. But she figured she's talking to a donkey. You know, you some people are right. Hello?
I from Palo Seco, Kola.
Pal. Okay, Pal.
Palo Seco.
Okay, so. And you see you have a guidance, not materially, but spiritually. But they're buying you drop by drop, and they're going to fill your bucket to fall off. And they're doing you that. If you are seeing it, but you're seeing it, you're knowing it, but you're standing up strong. But they're going to dig and keep you down. Have a blessed and wonderful night, sir.
So, Kola, let me tell you something. Let me take this call first. Welcome, Kola.
I can't take that weakness. You see that weakness where you just did it? Boy, let go that here. Let go that and lead the way.
All right, Cascade. Thank you.
All right, Cascade.
But you upset me with that kind of afternoon going down there. Leave strong people that run this thing, eh? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Cascade.
Well,
Good night, Kola.
Good night, the Silver Fox here.
Yes, Silver Fox.
oh, Lord, well, from one trouble man to the next.
Yes, let me say something to trade audience and black people. Like one another. That is the biggest problem. We're always looking into things we don't know about and we say things that we don't even understand. We have to start to understand ourselves before we could understand people. You understand? Right? Mr. I just hear a caller say something there, and I don't understand everything you bring it biblical. A man had to sit on his own bottom and stand on his own 2 feet. And we have to understand we have the power to move rowdy from there. My ancestors, they fight for this land. They build this land. They're dead and gone. And what we have it now, nothing is here for us now. We have to stop that. To stop that here now. Right? Now, we always talking about the Indian. The Indians hold on to land, the black man inherit land and sell it out. Yes? They sell everything to be in motor car and this kind of thing. And now, the Indians hold on to what black man have. Black man only like to be in food place, cook food. The Indians have hardware, they have all kind of things, black man cooking food. They're not looking to lift themselves. Who could live for them? You have to be your own man. You come out of slavery. You're in slavery too long. All we studying to do is to talk about who like who and who voting for who and who this for that. Look, the problem we're in a deep crisis. And before we think about in down the country and get out of this bondage. Miss Victor Roberts, who have this program. Victor Roberts, who have that. Victor Roberts, I don't get medicine in the hospital. Victor Roberts, they closed down here. Victor Roberts, they closed down here. What you know the problem. We know the problem in this country and we're not standing for it. Why? We eyes so blind with a veil over it. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with the people of Trinidad? Please, Trinidadians.
Fox, don't get hot, Fox, don't get hot.
What's a man? Right now, I could come in the radio station right now and start to get on. Because
Fox
before
get bad with that
we fight, what is the problem? We're seeing other people. This is the black man problem. The black man don't understand their own self. Black people will never know themselves until they're back against a wall. Some go rise and some go fall, and black people will never know themselves at all. Thank you.
Why you, well,
And Mr. Victor, I don't know if people doesn't listen to the way that we say it, you know. But the kind of man I know it to be as the man trying to sell you. Where is that? Where is that? You tell me where is that now?
who did sing that song, boy? Oh, it's Gina and Dinah, Rosita, and Telma. You remember, John? Better life is something you're selling. And if you catch them broken, you get them all for nothing. But let me tell you, I ain't broken, eh? Hey, Trinidad, let me tell you something. There is, in this world, there is some people that you cannot buy. And you see this dotishness, what people will be talking about, everybody have a price. Or you keep that for yourself. Keep that for all yourself. You see, there's a biblical term which states that how a man thinketh,
Yes.
so is
he.
So is he. So people, don't think for me, but you're free to think about me. All right? And arrest that. Arrest that. But I'm coming back to Kelly Village and that water. I am going to have a discussion with the member of parliament tomorrow, please God, for that constituency. And we will see how it works. Because I know the member of parliament, which I believe is Miss Amin. I know that she's a hard-working individual, and I know for a fact that she will take the necessary action to ensure that Kelly Village have water. Let me take this one. All right, we missed that. So tomorrow, caller, I will make that phone call and we will work forward from there. Right? Because we cannot continue in that condition. That is a real terrible condition to be in. All right? So, boss lady, I give you my word. I will look after that tomorrow, please God. I will also try to see what kind of relief that could come, even though if I have to put some bottles on my van and ensure that water reach your doorstep, that will happen tomorrow, please God. Welcome, caller.
Welcome, Mr. Robert.
One, two, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Good evening, 1, 2. 1, 2, good evening. Satyam, you ready? 1, 2. 1, 1. Mary, hold on to whose fleece was white as snow.
Good night, everyone. Could we acknowledge our Supreme Being? Heavenly Father, as I come to your Son Jesus Christ, I thank you for your day, O Lord. Heavenly Father, I thank you for each person that is gathered here tonight. I pray, O God, that you continue to keep us safe, O God. Look over our entire family, O great and merciful Father. I pray that you continue to touch us from the crown of our head to the sole of our feet. I pray, O God, that you continue to provide for our families, O God. Heavenly Father, I pray, O God, that you will bless the leaders of our country, O God. Give them wisdom and give them understanding, O God, to see the citizens as being first priority in every action that they take, O great and merciful God. Dear God, a special blessing for our MP, O God, for this event here tonight, O God. I pray, O God, that it will add value to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And most of all, O God, as we go through this proceedings, O God, I pray for safety in no other name but in your sweet and precious name. Amen. Good night, a pleasant good night, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ramona Victor, Councillor for the Electoral District of Siparia East, San Francisco South. Tonight, what you have just saw there is just part of the problems that we are going through in Oropouche West. And tonight, other speakers will go through issues by issues, and we don't have enough time to tell you the amount of issues that we endure here, not only in Oropouche West, but in Trinidad and Tobago. The first speaker is a young man from La Fortune. He has a Bachelor of Education in Natural Sciences, a strong activist who works hand in hand with his counselor for the betterment of La Fortune. This young man is committed to assist young people seek employment opportunities. I now bring to you, ladies and gentlemen, Kerwin Nihora.
Thank you. The Honorable Mr. Dave Tangu, Oropouche West, all members of the audience, online viewers, specially invited guests, and counselors, good evening. Firstly, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to contribute on the topic of challenges faced by graduates in the professional world. Every year, thousands of students graduate from many tertiary education institutions. However, many are left with the unsettling question of what's next? Graduates joyfully spend money, time, and resources to develop their professional skills, and all they anticipate is to apply their knowledge to the success of a company. Sadly, many are left with disheartened with the response of no available jobs, or simply having no need to experience to fulfill the roles of an entry-level positions. I can attest to this, as I faced similar circumstances after completing my Bachelor's of Education in the year of 2017 in Natural Sciences. I had high hopes of becoming a teacher to impact the lives of many students, the future of our children. However, 5 years have passed, and to my dismay, I have not even been interviewed by Ministry of Education, Teaching Service Commission that is. As anyone can imagine, the emotions of discouragement become overwhelming, and as any energetic, brilliant person must continuously be turned away. How difficult it must be for parents to see the light of hope dwindle in their children's eyes. I ask you, is this fair for our children of Trinidad and Tobago? The question arises now. The youth, who are the future of our children, what's next for them? All my life I have been told, go to school, get good grades so you can get that dream job. Here I am, I already have these things. Why it is that I cannot be given this dream job of mine? Why is the holdback? What future can we hope to have if we diminish the young people who cannot see or materialize a better life in Trinidad and Tobago? Consequences of these actions are severe. Young individuals in the hope to find a career in the field will now study to look to alternative plans. Many persons will decide to migrate. Japan has already started the JET program where they hire teachers from right here in Trinidad and Tobago. The United States of America recently released a statement stating that they require 100 teachers, from right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Canada is also on the market for teachers. Why it is that we cannot be given these opportunities right here in Trinidad and Tobago? The question arises to you, Trinidad and Tobago, are we creating a brain drain? Solutions for these are quite simple, yet proper planning is needed, something that the current government lacks in all areas. Strategic internships should be introduced, not just a simple OJT program where after 2 years you're left unemployed yet again. We want to be able to include these private sectors where government itself can partner up with these private sectors, even public, and offer graduates itself straight out of university. Obviously, we offer them incentives. Okay, if you hire 20 plus graduates, we pay 50% of their salary, allow them to be given the opportunity for us to get the experience that we require in the field of work. Offer programs based on job availabilities in the next 3 years. That way, persons are able to supply the demand for the growing economy. Currently, University of Trinidad and Tobago has a Bachelor's of Degree program in education at Current and Valsayn campus. However, Ministry of Education has stopped accepting applications for this program. What it is left for these children who are in year 1 to year 4? Are they going to continue to come out of that program with first class honors, second class honors, only to be told to join the line. What line, you may ask? The unemployment line of Trinidad and Tobago. It's getting longer each year because we cannot supply the amount of jobs required for the amount of students that are graduating. Job equality should be considered. If a graduate cannot get a job in the field of study, offer available jobs at their qualified salary. This way, persons are not treated unfairly. There are so many assistant teacher primary, that's ATPs, right now in the service of primary school. And they are left with being stuck there. They are qualified to be teachers. Why not upgrade these persons? Why not give them what they deserve? There are so many young children who require remedial and extra help. Yet still there is no program in place for them. But mind you, there are thousands of teachers coming out each year from that service. With so many teachers graduating, why not set up a program for these young children who require the help that is needed, for them to be at a good advantage to everyone? Why it is we cannot be across the board, ladies and gentlemen. With these simple issues that we have, yet there are so many simple solutions that we can include. Yet still, us graduated students are unemployed. I am Kerwin Ihora, and I demand change. It is high time that the government of Trinidad and Tobago give us young graduates an equal chance of opportunity in the sector. What is your change, TNT? The time for change is now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kerwin. And you mentioned some things there that, you know, we know why it is like that. And the reason why it is like that is because of poor governance by this PNM administration. The UNC government promised the creation of 50,000 jobs. 50,000 jobs. While we have a PNM government where every month we wondering who go in next. Ladies and gentlemen, the next speaker is a long-standing resident of Pluck Road. He is the president of the village council. Today, he will be talking to us about the biggest problem facing this community, his community, and the damages that it has done to the lives and livelihood of residents. Telling us about flooding in Woodland, San Francisco, Situ Trace, Tulsa Trace, Raju Trace, and so many other areas, I present to you Mr. Suku Sonilal.
A pleasant good night to each and everyone, and thank you, Madam Chair. Firstly, let me say pleasant welcome to the MP for the area who organized this event, and it is an honor to be here representing my community. Firstly, let me say it is ironic that we are talking about floods in the dry season, but it is very, very important throughout the year to put plans in place so that things would not happen that normally happen. I'm born and bred in the area called Woodland, San Francisco, Pluck Road, and every year we brace for floods. Every year we look out for when these floods are arriving, and every year we lost a lot of things: livestock, household items, appliances, clothes, you name it. We lost. The only thing that's sometimes we don't lose is the actual building, the structure itself. But most of the time we lost a lot of things, and we get no help from the government. So tonight I want to highlight the issue of flooding in Woodland, Pluck Road, Tulsa Trace, around Pinal, such a trace, all the traces around this area here. And then the reason why I'm mentioning, I want to stress more on Woodland is, you see, when all the water from Bakpo and DB and all over, even Moruga, as far as Moruga it comes through Pluck Road, and it remains in the area. So that is what causes the flooding. The solution for these things are very, very simple, as you all will hear later. But the ministry, they send people who do not really communicate with the residents. If they communicate with the residents, we have a man in my area who is Roland Binder. He is what you would say the Bible or the encyclopedia when it comes to flooding in the area. He knows every river, every channel, and which needs to be cleaned and dredged. But no one listens or no one asks his opinion or do anything about it. So I want to highlight these things that every year, why is it we have to go through every year? You have to buy back appliances, and the point about it, who helps the community? No one, not even the government. There are people who is waiting on flood damage since 2017. There are lots of people who are still there who didn't get the chance to even apply for the assistance from the government. So why is it, are we second-hand citizens? Or as I asked one of the ministers who was in charge then, that if we are living in Venezuela, they don't consider us, because we are not too far from Venezuela, and right now the amount of Venice they have in the country, we might be a little Venezuela in the future. So the issue is really to coming into the communities, talk to the people, look at the issues and try to get it solved. And this is the rightest time. As I say, it is ironic at this time we are talking about floods, but this is the best time to go in the area, look at all the channels and see which needs to be cleaned, and only clean the first 300 feet at the mouth of the river or the road that you trespass. When you trespass on the road, you see the river, the 300 feet is clean, but the rest to the back is not clear. Even the riverine committee, which Mr. Edward Moody is the president, they raise issues regularly, weekly. And part of the problem there is the Newcut channel along the Pluck Road area, which is not dredged and it is blocked because of the roadworks that is taking place down on the creek. The councillor, when he comes in, Mr. Meru, will talk a little more on that issue. Why is it that river is blocked? And it needs to be dredged so that we could get some relief higher up on the inland areas like Pluck Road, Woodland, Suchet Trace, Debe, all around this area we are here now in Gopie Trace. Because once these areas are clear, the water would travel down and go down to the Newcut Channel and get out into the Gulf of Paria. If it is not clear, would not happen. This flooding is not only, it doesn't only concern us in Oropouche West, but it affects the entire country at times. For example, Caroni, Madras Road, all in that area there. When there is flooding, there's lots of water and people lost their belongings. It is surprising that when the flooding took place in Diego Martin, the Prime Minister sanctioned all his ministers to be up there, and all the resources from most of the regional corporation went there to assist the people. Why is it we in the Oropouche area, years after year, would not get any assistance? Look, I have my MP supporting me here right now. Year after year, we have to undergo the same flooding and no assistance, none whatsoever, not one red cent, as they would say. We don't need the money, we really need the assistance to get back on our feet. Most of the people, all they need is a good home, a good road, water and electricity, and they are okay. They don't ask the government for much, really. And when something like when natural disasters take place, they expect the government to come and assist us. But little do you know, we don't get any assistance. So that is one of the reasons I'm here tonight, to raise some of the issues and talk about it a little, to highlight it so that at least somebody would listen and somebody would hear and somebody would do something about it. We are not asking much. We are just asking for that we get back to our normal footing and our normal livelihood. So again, it is an issue that affects the entire country. So once again, I want to thank the organizers of this event for having given me the short time to just highlight one or two of the issues, and the solutions, as I said, is right there. If they come into the community and talk to the community leaders, the problems will be addressed. But it is not being done, and that is one of the reasons I'm highlighting here. Please, whosoever in charge, the minister, if the minister look at this program also, at least let him send his foot soldiers to come out to the community and talk to the community leaders in order to get some alleviation. So once again, thank you and do have a good night. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonilal. Because I know the minister will be listening. So we need to tell the minister, listen to what Mr. Sonilal said. Because we know the PNM have no plan. So they have to listen to this program to get some solutions. Just imagine, rainy season, too much of water. Dry season, no water. And yet still the PNM ain't know what to do. Something wrong. PNM just don't care. Thank you very much. A resident of Tulsa Trace, a DJ, a self-taught sound engineer with his own sound system business. He's an aspiring young farmer. Tonight, he will tell us about some of the challenges facing farmers in parts of the country, and he will offer a couple of solutions as well. Welcome, youthful Mr. Satyam Samaru.
Pleasant good night, each and everyone. Honorable Member of Parliament for Oropouche West, Councillors, Aldermen, good night. As Councillor Ramona said, my name is Satyam Samaru, and I will be talking about agriculture in Oropouche West. Here in Oropouche West, particularly in Davis South, farming is one of the main sources that family earn their revenue to support their families for their day-to-day needs. Farming, whether it be tilapia, subsistence farming, fresh produce, dairy farming, or even hydroponics, it is a key part of our lifestyle in Davis South. However, farming is no bed of roses, and these farmers go through challenges each and every day without us even knowing. For example, the farmers of Puzzle Island and Such a Trace, day to day they go to their lands, they toil for hours and hours, they invest thousands of dollars with equipment, fertilizers, even buying animals. For our food that we depend on daily, they sacrifice their time, their families, they sacrifice so much for us. And how are they repaid? The night before, uncle and auntie go to pick the tomatoes and bygone that they're going to sell in the market. You sleeping in the night and you know, right, I have an acre of tomatoes to pick this morning. To your surprise, when you go in your land, you're going to find every single one of those tomatoes gone. You're going to find your land picked clean. How are these farmers going to provide for their families? These are persons just like you and I here. They have to provide for their children, online classes, paying utilities. How are these families going to face society? Pradial larceny is real, and it don't stop here, you know. Tulsa Trace has a lot of dairy farmers, and the plight that we face is one that is just heinous. Sometimes these farmers go to their lands on mornings expecting to see their cattle. What they are met with is something that scars them on the inside. They are met with the carcass of their animals, left with the entrails. Why? Somebody come in the night with a van and pick up the animal and gone. This is what these people depend on for their survival. This is what they need. This is how they bring an income. This is how they support their families. And what our Prime Minister has to say about this? He eats a snack in a parlor in Tobago. This is not fair. This is not fair for our farmers in Oropouche West. This is simply not right. However, I must say that in Davis South, the farmers here, we have adapted. As the previous speaker said, flooding in Oropouche West is a real good friend. We just always get flood here. So the farmers have adapted. They have adapted with new and modern techniques. Hydroponics has become one of the most prevalent types of farming in Davis South. And this is a step in the right direction. We have encouraged lots of young farmers who have taken up this hydroponics. They have adapted with technology, and this is how farming has evolved. Now, on a lighter note, quoted from a newspaper article dated the 5th of October 2020, the Honorable Finance Minister Colin Bird says the government was moving towards making the agriculture sector tax-free. Well, so he say. delivering in the 2020-2021 fiscal package. Imbert said the sector received a 70% increase in budgetary allocation from 759 million to 1.198 billion. Now, that is real money he invested in agriculture here. Urging the public and private partnerships, Imbert said 500 million will be spent to boost the agriculture sector as a catalyst for diversification. End quote. Now, this sounded real nice here to us. But one major problem that the farmers in our Push West face is getting access and financially benefiting from the agricultural incentive program. Now, the agriculture incentive program is something that the farmers should utilize. So after providing all the necessary documents, all the requirements that they are required to, these farmers are denied benefiting from this program. Some of these farmers, may God rest their soul, they have died and gone and they can't benefit. I would like to know what is the key back. Why are we being discriminated in our Bush West? Farmers matter too. They play such a key role in our lives. Without farmers, we would not survive. We need to eat. Farmers and agriculture provides us with nutrition. We need this to survive. Now, we can utilize agriculture as well to earn revenue. Poverty is a serious problem in our Push West, and farming is the way forward. If we encourage farming on a large scale, we can encourage young individuals to get into agriculture. We all need agriculture is always in demand. We need this to survive. With agriculture as a catalyst for diversification, we would provide our own food, we would create jobs, we would keep the youth in a right track. We would have a method of solving poverty, and the youth of Trinidad and Tobago will be better. With these few words in mind, Pradia Lasny and all these problems discussed here tonight doesn't only affect our Puch West and Davis South. It affects all of us. And I call on the authority, I call on the government to create a stand and help these farmers in our Puch West. They deserve better, and we deserve better. Tonight, I call on the Minister of Agriculture to step up the agriculture in Rahama Trees. We have this subdivision of the farm in Rahama Trees, but it's like a wake house. We need this country to get better, and I call on the Minister to further implement the agricultural incentive program and help these farmers in our Puch West with what they deserve. I thank you.
Let's hear it for Satyam again, ladies and gentlemen. Satyam, you see, farmers go through the sun and through the rain to nurture their crop. But you know what? This government says that there's not enough land in Trinidad and Tobago for mega farm. That's what this government tells us. But I'll tell you something. At the UNC, when the UNC was in power, the UNC, we introduced extra protection for farmers. We increased the workforce of Pradia Lasany from 30 to 50. That's what a UNC government does for the people. That's what the UNC government does for the citizens at Trinidad and Tobago. The next speaker is a young professional who is a resident in Oropuch West. This generally soft-spoken young man, like all of us, have become fed up of crime and the epidemic affecting every one of us. He is a community activist who has decided that enough is enough and he must let his voice be heard. Speaking out on crime tonight, let us bring Mr. Nicholas Rampasad.
A pleasant good night. A pleasant good night to each and everyone. Member of Parliament for Oropuch West, Mr. Dave Tanku, UNC councillors, fellow colleagues, and to you, the beautiful people of Oropuch West, who came out tonight for the first episode of TNT Speaks. Good night. Tonight, I would be discussing one of the failures of the PNM government. That is crime. Like all other aspects of their governance, they have failed. They have failed to protect the young people. They have failed to protect the elderly. They have failed to protect the women. No one is safe in this country. Yes. You see, ladies and gentlemen, and I look in the crowd and I see so many familiar faces. Growing up in Penal and just a few streets away from here, I remember the time when, you could have left your window open just for some fresh air. Can we do that anymore? We cannot. That is because the criminal elements have infiltrated Oropouche West. They have infiltrated Penal Debe. So let me get down to the facts and figures as crime relates to the Penal Debe region. And people might say, Nicholas, you come here tonight to bore with facts and figures. But you see, I need to come prepared because we have a prime minister. And y'all ever play the game called Twister? Right. You see, he's an expert in this game called Twister because he likes to twist everybody's words. He likes to twist the facts in order to gain cheap political points. But you see, crime is real. Crime is real. The Penal Debe region, we fall under the purview of the Southwestern Police Division. In a report generated 2010, you see, they had recorded a relatively low crime rate, with a 16% of the population was a victim of crime, and 9% of responses by the division was gang-related. Fast forward 8 years later, and this is the latest report, a 2018 report. It now states, within the Penal Debe region, 8 murders, 21 cases of rape, incest, and other sexual offenses, 14 kidnappings, 22 burglaries, and 40 robberies. And that is simply unacceptable. And we can all agree, looking through the newspaper, we have now become somewhat accustomed to these headlines. And you would have seen it over the years. Triple murder at Fazal Avenue, Loop TT, 2019. Penal family terrorized in $200,000 home invasion, Express, November 2019. Penal woman killed, Newsday, September 2020. And just a minute away from here, we have GN Shopping Center. And what we would have seen there was a jewelry store was robbed and the business owner was shot. So my friends, the statistics don't lie. Crime continues to negatively impact us. And the impact of crime, it is a very large bracket. But tonight I will just highlight three issues. We talk about the impact of crime on the economy, the impact of crime on our youths, and the impact of crime on our women. The economic effect. Businesses in the Penal Debe region, they are now fearful to open late because of the risk of getting robbed. Shoppers and people in Penal, they are now leaving here to go and shop elsewhere because they may feel safer in the malls. We are going through the COVID-19 pandemic. So in addition of losing business, these business owners must now incur the cost of acquiring personal surveillance. That is just simply not acceptable. And not only business owners, so many homeowners like myself, we would go and get our own private surveillance because we need to protect ourselves because the government has clearly failed to do so. The impact on our youths. The access to drugs like marijuana, cocaine, you name it, it have now become easier to access this among the community. So now instead of doing your schoolwork, instead of going to learn a trade, the new trend is, let me go buy my partner, let me go take a smoke, let me just enjoy myself. And with that trend, it only continues to lead in a downward spiral of our nation's productivity. Yes. The impact on our women. We would have seen the headlines. We know what the women of our country face. But tonight I want to touch specifically on domestic violence. Because in rural communities, domestic violence is something that happens. And it is something that sometimes we don't really want to speak about, but it is an issue, and it is a major issue in rural communities. Data from the Crime and Protection Analysis Branch would have stated 11,441 reports of domestic violence, 131 domestic violence related deaths, of which 56% of this were women. You know, and those statistics are very alarming, right? So tonight, you are here because you see the need to continue fighting for a better country. Now, while we can all do our part, we must hold the authorities responsible. At the end of the day, they have the money, they have the resources. Y'all remember when some time ago we had a minister beating his chest? We in charge, we in charge. Well, what happened now? What happened now? Take charge, take charge. That is what the government is there for. And I just saying, if all they can't do the job, we on the UNC can do the job for you. We can do it. So you see tonight, like my other speakers, we didn't just come here to raise the issues, but the UNC is here and we are saying we have the solution. So I want to bring across some solutions to the issues that I would have highlighted. I am saying one, Keith Rowley, invest in the youths. Invest in the youths. The youths of today are the future of tomorrow. The government must provide, and I am saying must because we must demand them, provide the electronic devices for those who cannot afford it. And you know, the first thing they'll say is, we don't have the money. We must tighten our belt. But when you could find $2.5 million to buy a rope, you could find millions to buy electronic devices for children in our country who are the future of tomorrow. So we are not taking your excuses anymore, Dr. Rowley. Right. My second solution is we must reinstate the community patrol. You know, one of the first things they did when they came in government was they discontinue it. We are saying provide the additional resources, provide the help for the police. Because crime is not no one person thing. It is not a one institution thing. It takes a collective effort. And we are saying reinstate the community patrol. And to address the issue of domestic violence, I'm saying empower the women of Trinidad and Tobago. Empower them. Give them the support to fight to come out of these situations, because it requires a lot of effort to get people out of a domestic situation. So we are saying reinstate or even establish domestic violence units within the rural communities of Trinidad and Tobago. So ladies and gentlemen, you know, fighting crime is not a one-day thing, but we must start somewhere. And clearly this government is doing nothing. So tonight I want to encourage you all to continue attending events, seminars, sessions like this where we all collectively come together to build a better Trinidad and Tobago. And as I leave, I say this to you. In our fight against crime, always remember to be your brother's keeper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. And I want to say thanks again for breaking the silence and removing that veil. Because you see, this government don't understand that in order to curb crime, you must create jobs. You must create skill programs to empower the youths. But we know this government have no plan. Absolutely no plan. Just imagine we have a prime minister who said, ladies, know who to put in your bedroom. But what we want to tell the prime minister, we want to know, we know who to put as prime minister next time. For many in this constituency, Access to regular and reliable water remains a major challenge. Speaking to you on water issues is the newest councillor in the county. Let us welcome Councillor Kimraj Sicharan.
My DB South family, good evening. Newest councillor in the block. Of course, tonight I'm so privileged to stand before you today. The first platform since I've been officially sworn in. So 2 days into the job, and we're back on the road. We're back on the road, letting our voices heard. DB South, we have our voice, and our voice is strong. Today, I was asked to choose out of the many, many issues that I would have had discussions with residents throughout my campaign and, walking around the community and whatnot. And out of them, the one that stood out the most is water. We in DB South, we are suffering for water. DB South, Penal DB, Oropouche West, water is a big problem. Can you believe that this is the problem now in 2022? It wasn't flooding, it wasn't employment. While those are major problems that we have, people are suffering for water. A lot of persons would have been telling me that we are home. It's COVID, the children home, parents are home, we are working from home, but you don't have water to wash your hands. But you want everybody to help with the spread of COVID. What we saying? How much millions we spent, how much billions we spent on COVID thus far. But simple things to wash your hand, to help the virus, we don't have water. Yeah, I'm upset this evening on the things that I want to say to you. And I just want to move on a little bit from just the COVID situation and talk a little bit about some research I did. Because, of course, everybody talked to me about water. So I had to look to see, what's the background behind this? And WASA did a study. The Cabinet Subcommittee put forward a study in 2020. And the amount of things that came out in that, it felt as if the minister was trying to throw WASA under the bus. Because last week, Friday, WASA reached out to me. Of course, throughout the campaign, I would have highlighted there's a community in Puzzle Island that got water 4 times last year. 4 times for the year they got water. Of course, after I said it on the media, WASA called and say, hey, where's these people? I took them down there. They came, spoke to the families. This is a real thing. 4 times they got water. Of course, that same day they got water. So miraculously, the water could have come over the hill. Yeah? So I did a little bit more research in terms of what's happening with the water. WASA would have gotten some injections over the last 5 years. From 2016 to 2020, you all know how much money WASA got? I'll tell you tonight. $13 billion. $13 billion, and we don't have water to wash we hand because we're in a pandemic. This is nonsense. And people, we accepting this. DB South, we are not accepting this anymore. And this message, Trinidad, we are not accepting this anymore. When the WASA persons came, you know the first thing they said? They said most of the water that we get in South comes from the desalination plant. Well, I say thank God for the UNC government, Ambassador Pandey, that the desal plant came to Trinidad. The same plant that they say they don't want because it's costing a lot of money. Because, of course, all the red tapes around it. But, I did some research on desal plant too. And upon my findings, it will cost us just about 700 million to put forward a desal plant. And let's say we add 300 million because there's red tapes and one set of bureaucracy in Trinidad and Tobago. $1 billion. $13 billion in the last 5 years. How much desal plant we have already? We surrounded by water. We surrounded by water. We're an island. But we can't get water in our taps. But let's say, okay, fine, the desal plant is expensive. We have underwater wells. We have flooding. Uncle Sunil, I'll tell you how much water we have in flooding. Why retention ponds is not an option. We have done some studies. Haggard Trace on the foot of the hills is the ideal spot to create a dam. Yet, it's just an idea up in the air. Nothing can be done. if we set up a dam there, it's going to eliminate the flooding situation from the Coromata River coming down to flood the communities from Penal into Davis, straight down to Uncle Sonny Lal and Woodland, and down straight down to the creek. But no, we don't want a solution. Y'all living in the lagoon, building the river bank, take flood. Are we accepting? We not accepting that. Retention ponds are a real thing. And you know the next part they start off with? We have so much fake oil and so much, the fake oil, it'll have no oil in the well. So why would I put some water in the well? We could use the fake oil wells to put water so people can have water. We have so much options. We have so much water when the rainy seasons come. But yes, we're suffering for water today. I want to just jump a little bit from the wells and the water and talk a little bit about the water trucking situation. The water trucking that the corporation, I understand, undertakes, and of course it was put off by 2 weeks because we had no diesel for the trucks. But this, we have over 600 families in the Penal Debe region that depend on water trucking. And that simply is because WASA has not given these people a connection. They have applied, they have tried, the red tape says whoever have to sign, and once it's a long story, so these people don't have a connection. But now the water trucking has to fulfill the other end of it. I was walking through the community and one guy said, "Hey, what about the water meter, boy?" I said, "But uncle, you want the meter?" He said, "Yes, send the meter. Let them put meter in the whole of Debe. So nobody got to pay no bill because we don't get no water." You're right, uncle. The last thing I want to touch on, of course, the time is short this evening, is 1 and 9. So I did some research in 1 and 9 because Wasa said our schedule in this side is 1 and 9 because we are the end of the pipe system because we get water from Caroni and of course thank God for Mr. Pandey, the desal plant. But coming down this way, we get water. After 9 days, you get water 1 day. But I study now how does water come in 9 days it taking to reach Davis South? This coming with donkey cat? How the water come in here? The mental psyche of this is unbelievable. 9 days for people to get water. So I went through the community again and I spoke to residents and said, what's the water situation? Of course, myself last night I bathed with a bucket and a pan because Wasa said because TNT cut off, they cut off too. I'm not sure what's the link, but I bathed with a pan last night and I make it work. But the other part of that is so much persons are without water for 9 days. But the issue I have with 9 days connection is while 2010 to 2015 the partnership was in government, these same persons were getting water 3 and 4 times a week. So where the water gone now? We had water before for everybody to get. Now we don't have water. Yet the desal plant says that we have excess water because they closed down half of the refinery Point Lisas. So we have excess water. So excess water, yet we get no water, then we had to survive. 9 days for water? Are we accepting that, David South? Are we accepting that? Not at all. We're not accepting that. So, of course, as Ramona said, the authorities are listening, the ministers are listening, and the truth is, I won't blame the WASA workers, They try. I've seen it, they try. They come out and they try with the residents. But the management, the mismanagement, of WASA, and the mismanagement team, led by the minister, $13 billion in 5 years, and we're still begging for water in 9 days. Totally unacceptable. Davis South is just the start. We're not accepting that.
Thank you very much, Kimraj. So we see in the vibrant councillors that Kamla Prasad Bisesa have, right? PNM has no plan. They just don't have no plan. They don't know what to do. So, MP Tanku, I want to say thank you for keeping this meeting tonight. So tomorrow, please God, when everybody listen up, the ministers and them, they'll at least have a plan with solutions. Not just a plan, but a plan with solutions. So I thank you, MP. The next speaker is a resident of San Francisco. 1 year ago, she initiated a community petition which collected thousands of signatures of affected residents, calling on the Minister of Works to fix the landslips in her community. Turn your attention to the screen as we share this video prepared by Carissa Nanan.
This is the dilapidated state of the roads of Oropouche West, South Trinidad. Riddled with potholes, there are now 3 major landslides on the San Francisco Main Road. For the past 6 years, residents have pleaded with the Minister of Works and Transport, Rohan Sinanan, to address the collapsing infrastructure. A letter and petitions with over 500 signatures of residents were sent to him. His ministry responded in a letter indicating that they already recognize these landslides and that it will be addressed within the last quarter of fiscal year 2021, first quarter of fiscal year 2022. To this date, both time periods have passed and nothing has been done to address the road issue. This is one of the major landslides located at Pluck Road, San Francisco. It is currently dry season, yet the land is moving every day. Some residents have already abandoned their homes, while others who cannot afford to do so live in fear and anxiety that their homes and lives will be destroyed at any minute. What is going to happen to these residents when the rainy seasons approach? This is the second major landslide in San Francisco, as you can see with the exposed sheets and beams that this project was abandoned in 2015. To this day, it has not been fixed, leaving the potential for accidents and loads of traffic daily. When Minister Rohan Sinanan was asked in Parliament when he is going to fix the landslide in San Francisco, he said that the landslides were not important enough to fix. So the residents of San Francisco would love to know, Minister Rohan Sinanan, what do you deem as severe enough of a landslide to address by your ministry? This is the most recent landslide and it is located in between the 2 major landslides. It has been crumbling daily in this dry season as well, and it has damaged over half of the main road. Yet, money seems to have been spent on half a barrel of oil sand to make a 2-inch embankment around the landslide. Apparently, this is the fix us residents who pay taxes deserve. The residents are absolutely fed up of the geographic discrimination. They are tired of protesting. They are tired of writing letters and petitions. They are fearful of losing their homes, their vehicles, their lives, their mental health, and the connection to other communities. We are residents of Trinidad and Tobago. We are hardworking, we are tax-paying citizens, and we deserve to be treated equally. We at Oropouche West deserve better infrastructure.
Carissa Nanan, I will tell you something. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, she always inspires and motivates women. So that is why Miss Carissa Nanan, she could stand up. If for persons who would have watched the Monday night forum that went, where Miss Kamla Prasad Bisesa did this video showing that long ago women had no rights. Barely they could have even stand and say anything. But due to Kamla Prasad Bisesa holding one of the highest office in Trinidad and Tobago, women could stand and hold high offices in Trinidad and Tobago. So the next speaker, he needs no introduction, absolutely. He is a firebrand who holds the government to account on the radio. In the regional corporation, he's a local government councillor for 15 years, going into 16 years. Speaking to you today about the horrendous state of the road in our area, please welcome Councillor Dudnat Meru.
Thank you very much, my councillor colleague at the Sipara Regional Corporation, Mrs. Ramona Victor, Member of Parliament for Oropouche West, Mr. Devendranath Tanku, all my councillor colleagues from the Penal Debe Corporation and the Sipara Corporation, and those log on and looking at us at this point in time, pleasant good evening. Well, I have listened to all my colleagues speak before me here. It leads to one thing, a complete failure by this PNM administration. And Ramona spoke about opportunities for women. In the UNC, every creed and race had opportunities. Under this PNM administration, man, woman and child have no opportunities. Now we're dealing with Rohan Sinanan this evening, one of the biggest failure of the PNM administration. When you drive through this country and you try to get away from one pothole, you end up in another pothole. And I don't know if Mr. Sinanan forget South Trinidad and parts of Central coming down. I thought that he would have done some visits last year or the year before, but it is my understanding that he's afraid to come down on the southern side during the rainy season because he feels he might fall into a pothole and drown. But I want to inform him this evening that we are in the dry season, so you cannot drown in a pothole in South Trinidad, so you can make that visit down in South. You would recall about 2 weeks ago we had a massive protest on the Mosquito Creek for the collapse of that creek. And we were calling for answers. We were joined by our own MP, Mr. Tanku, Mr. Dr. Munilal and Dr. Lakram Buru. And up to today, we have not been given an explanation or a reason why that part of the road have collapsed and what will be the additional cost to bring back that road to where it was before. We have not, we don't have any answers coming from them for anything that is asked in this country. This country is being governed by a government that do what they want, say what they want, and they spend the money how they want on what they want, and they forget half of the population. And you know, joining the list of the failures of this administration is our public utilities minister yesterday when this entire country went into darkness. Councillor Kimraj, I myself had a shower last night with a bucket and a pan, and I had to hot some water on the stove in a pot to make that water a little warm before I had that shower. And the electricity came back by me at 11:45. So Marvin Gonzalez, Minister of Public Utilities, have joined the list of failures in this country. But I am dealing with Rohan Sinanan. Rohan Sinanan, you don't have a heart and you don't have feelings for people. If you had a heart, when you came to Pluck Road, as my colleague, my friend said, Mr. Sonilal, about the flooding, you would have taken corrective measures to ensure that that doesn't happen there again. If you come into Pluck Road and you saw those landslips and you saw the condition of the roads, in your heart you couldn't find the decency somewhere to do something to assist those people in that area? Mr. Sinanan, the money that the PNM spending, oh God, I know all you're giving Faris some, but take the rest and fix the damn road in South Trinidad. I know all you're giving Stuart Brothers some too. Oh God, all you take some and fix the damn road in South. And oh God, Rowley, the savings you and your daughter get in the house in Tobago, give me the million, let me fix one of the blasted landslip tuna, man. If you can't do that, oh God, well, sell out the damn goat and sheep and give me the money to fix the landslip too. But you know, somebody mentioned that Rowley was in a cafe or a parlor or something eating a snack in Tobago. You know why? He was hiding because the people in Tobago don't want to see him after that 14-1. That is why he only go in a little cafe and parlor. He can't even go in the grocery in Tobago. You understand? This is a totally failed administration. Rohan Sinanan, they should have taken out Anan from your name. Rohan Sin, that is your name from today. I am ashamed to call you Sin Anan. You are Rohan Sin to the people of Central and South Trinidad. And I am telling you, if you do not do something about those landslips before this dry season is done, I'm going to take a backhoe and dig out the next piece of road and extend the landslip so nothing can pass and you'll be forced to do something. You have no heart for the people in this country, especially foreigners. If you drive through Pinal, Debe, Faizabad, Siparia, and you look at the potholes and what is, you know, in Ramona area, there's a landslip there. You ever see they close up a road, they build the road, and they bring in the road so only one lane of traffic could flow. That is the vision of this PNM administration. They have failed and they will continue to fail. You know why? They don't have love and compassion for people. They don't care about you. And the people who continue to support them and keep them in power, I hope that you will look and see what Tobago did and how Tobago will prosper in the future. And I hope that when the time comes, that you will be ready to take the same decision in Trinidad and make sure we remove this failed PNM government and Rohan Singh. We want to move Rohan Singh too. You understand? Come down and fix the road in Oropuch West. Come down and fix the road in Pinal, in Faizabad, in Siparia. And the money doesn't belong to you. And if the government don't have money, borrow some from Faris Alwari and all you go pay him back with a loan. Take a loan and pay him back. Ain't only borrowing money to run the country. Take a loan from Faris. I sure he have 300 or 400 million put away since 2015 to now. Borrow a loan from him. Fix the landslip. And if we have to do some barbecue to raise back the money to pay you, we go do it too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councillor Meru. Because when UNC was in government, we used to patch road. But now PNM in government, we only patching pothole. Because pothole after pothole after pothole. It ain't had no road for we to patch. It's only pothole now. Speaking to you now is another youthful councillor. In the last few years, he has served as a councillor at the Pinal Debe Regional Corporation and is here to speak to you firsthand about his experience as a representative of the people. Allow me to introduce to you Councillor Nicholas Kanhai.
Good evening, UNC family. You know, after coming to speak to an audience tonight and the viewing and national public, after Councillor Meru, it really is a difficult task. But the man right, I think it's all of them surname and PNM should be sin. Because that's all it stops at. We are absolutely fed up of the PNM in these parts. I think life in the last 6 years in an opposition constituency with a PNM government has not been easy. And the challenges continue to mount on a daily basis. So MP, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here tonight and to share my voice, because you know tonight we speak and the government will listen. And all of my colleagues before, they have said the very same thing. The role of local government is critical to the development and preservation of our communities. But local government is not a standalone entity. As a matter of fact, it is essentially the medium through which goods and services reaches the residents of our communities. When we talk about land development and we talk about the erection of buildings, we talk about burials and cremations, maintenance and development of recreation grounds and public spaces, markets and abattoirs, public health and sanitation, and more importantly, roads and bridges and drains. That is the essence of local government. You hear much things I call out there? And I ain't even finished it. This is just the main ones. When you are expected in local government to get resources from central government to meet these needs of law-abiding, tax-paying citizens, and you are starved of that resource, how could life ever be happy? How could we as a people ever feel comfortable or satisfied in our homes because we don't have access to basic needs? We are in the Baka Recreation Ground tonight, and the Pinal Debe Regional Corporation was allocated $800,000 for the development of recreation grounds. But we have 36 grounds in Pinal Debe though. How are we going to spend our money? How are we going to split that? We have cricket season coming up, but we don't have the funding for the sand to fix the outfield. We don't have the material to fix the pitch. So communities, and this is why local government is so important again, we have found ourselves in a position where we have had to engage NGOs and communities to do the work that the government has money to do. But they don't have no money to give me for sand to fix the recreation grounds. You remember the man who said, we are riot yet? Well, apparently he was spotted in PriceMart today. He going to buy a generator here. So while we're struggling here, he fixing his business home there. Correct. When the budget, every year before budget is read, every corporation will submit estimates to the ministry of what it forecasts to expend in the upcoming fiscal year. For example, Pinalebe. Now I want to use the square kilometer. Pinalebe is about 250 square kilometer. We're just a little bit smaller than Tobago. And we forecasted $100 million for 2021 to 2022. But when the budget was haphazardly debated and passed last year, PDRC was in fact allocated $60 million. What does that mean? It doesn't mean $60 million is in the bank account of the corporation, you know. It means that we have to play the begging game of this government. Every single day, every single week, every single month, we have to consistently go to the Ministry of Finance and beg them to release the monies that has been allocated to us. And the funny thing is, when they get money for employment, you have no money for material. When they get money for material, you have no money for machinery. Is that really the governance that we have amounted to in 2022? You know, somebody say they don't care. I don't know if they don't care now. I feel they really don't know. They know no plan, but we ready, you know. All of we ready. We ready to take this country back into government. There are 5 common means of reporting issues in Pinalebe. Now, for the first time in about 20-something years, we created a new committee in Pinalebe called Coordinating, Monitoring, Evaluation and Implementation. And what we have endeavored to do is to collect all the issues that was reported to us. So there are 5 means of reporting issues at the corporation. Tell me if I'm missing here. You can make a phone call to the corporation. You can walk in and lodge your complaint. You can send an email or a letter. Well, I mean, we have our Facebook pages, so you can send your message through Facebook. And the most popular one is talk to your counselor. Right? Through that means alone of talking to your counselor, members of Council Pinalebe have brought over 800 issues in 26 months. 800 issues. A great majority of that have been properly. So what do we do? When a resident brings the issue, we go to the nearest committee meeting, we report it, an investigation is done. Our technical officers will come back and they will say, this is our recommended solution. So where has that left us? It has left us with 90% of those issues being reported to date. Recommendations have been provided. But the funny thing is, we have no funding. The status of it is to be programmed on the availability of funding, to be programmed on the availability of material. So while we get in cost in local government, now we don't take the cost to heart because you have to understand, people are passionate about their property and things close to their property and to their home and to their living conditions and so on. So we understand their pleas, and as representatives we continue to fight for them. Let's go back a bit. You remember when I told you that we have been allocated 60% of what we requested? And I tell you how we have to consistently be begging for it. Well, most notably, the recent diesel debacle, that my chairman had to take a very firm decision, and we led a very silent protest, but effective. The minister shamelessly said we had no monies available to purchase diesel. He did not react to our pleas since November. The Prime Minister, in his callous and arrogant style, said Chairman Sami attributed the issue to racial discrimination. I don't know if I stick breaking ears. We are wax. The man never said that. We continue to face geographic discrimination in South Trinidad. And that is what this is. This is geographic discrimination. This is where I talk about the flagrant and unapologetic geographic discrimination that has been met by the people of Davis South, the people of Oropouche West and South Trinidad by this PNM regime. Many of our older folks who know that a decade, maybe 2 decades ago, when Caroni and Petrotrin used to maintain their access roads and water courses, when these state entities suffered their gruesome closure under the hands, the blighted hands of the PNM, not only were there thousands of persons put on the breadline, but it meant that the roads and water courses were then abandoned and orphaned. So over time you have people building homes in these areas with a natural expectation that the regional corporation would oversee the maintenance and development of these roadways and watercourses. Colleagues, this leads me to the final point I want to raise tonight. In 2018, my councillor colleague, Mr. Brian Julian, he brought a motion updating the fixed assets inventory, which is known as the vesting order of the Penal Labour Regional Corporation, which had not been updated in just about 30 years. And it says, and I quote, "And whereas the list of fixed assets vested in the Penal Labour Regional Corporation, and in particular roads and drains, is a critical requirement in the determination of the quantum of funds obtained by the corporation for execution of its maintenance and development programs under this item of expenditure in the estimates of revenue and expenditure approved by Parliament, and therefore an updated inventory of roads and drains vested in the corporation is of paramount importance to the promotion of sustainable development of the region, as well as the welfare, well-being and benefits of its residents, inhabitants and communities within its geographical confines." I know it's a mouthful, you know. You know what really means? 4 years later, the PDRC is yet to hear from this PNM cabinet on this matter of the vesting order of the Penal Labour Regional Corporation. They clearly refuse to pronounce on this, friends, or pronounce favorably, because hear this, the PDRC has approximately 300 roads that forms part of the vesting order, but over 500 roads do not fall in the vesting order. So they will use the technicality that since we are not supposed to expend monies on roads that are in fact in our vesting order, we will only allocate funds for those. So the 300 that are in the vesting order, that is all they want to allocate monies for. The 500 that we have to maintain because people live in there, they will never approve this motion because they will not want to expend or give us the monies to do the necessary work. And even so, they shamelessly don't even give us the allocation for that. So tonight I want to tell the PNM that when you suffer local government, you suffer tax-paying citizens. So Prime Minister launched an investigation into the status of our motion on updating the vesting order at PDRC. Minister of Works launched an investigation into the Minister of Public Utilities, and was found their failure to repair our roads that fall under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Works and Transport Highways Division. These people are so shameless. The Minister Sin, he even know the SSA road is an asset of the Ministry of Works. Serious, you know? The man don't know that. Stop it once and for all. Stop blaming local government. Stop treating local government like a bastard child. Instead of always having to declare conflict of interest and walk out of cabinet meetings, stay and talk about things that actually matter. Davis South matters, Oropouche West matters, Penal Labour matters, South Trinidad matters, UNC areas matter too. So tonight, folks, with that being said, I thank you for the opportunity, and I hope the government listens to all that and all those who would have spoken tonight.
To be programmed based on availability of funding. Wow. Wow. My councillor colleagues could attest to this. You know, we had to say in Superior Regional Corporation, thanks to corporate Trinidad and Tobago, and even those private citizens who will take monies from their pocket and purchase materials just to fix the road, so every week they don't have to go and purchase car parts. Yeah, I mean, and the residents paying tax. We deserve more. Councillor Meru, we deserve more. Citizens, we deserve more. A name everyone is familiar with. Highly educated individual with a bachelor's in economics. He's a key figure in our UNC party, and he continues to be a strong supporter of the United National Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you the Member of Parliament for Oropouche West, Devendranath Tanku.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Councillor Ramona Victor. My brothers and sisters all, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, because tonight we are talking to citizens. Tonight we have had several speakers address you on issues affecting them in this constituency of Oropouche West. The saddest part about all of that is that every single citizen in this country could identify with every single one of those issues raised here tonight. You know why? Because it's not just here that the PNM failing, you know. It's every single way in this country. And it's not just in crime that they're failing, you know. It's not just in agriculture that they're failing, you know. This is a government that I don't know how else to phrase it. But if they could fail, they will fail. And if they could succeed, they can't help themselves. It's like a blight take over this country. You see, elections have consequences. This country is suffering today because persons made the wrong decisions. But I know that people learn. I know that people have learned and are learning still, because this government don't care about you, they don't care about me, they don't care about none of them. You know who they care about? Friend, family, and financiers. The only people doing well in this country under this PNM is friends, family, and financiers. Well, he's a financier too. And you know something else? You know who making plenty money here? Bandit. So if I tell you friend, family, and financiers, and I say bandit, you know who I'm talking about too? Them same friend, family, and financiers. That PNM friend. You know who else making money? Funeral homes. Funeral homes. You know, we have twice as much murders this month going here, January, than we did last year. Twice as much. You know why? Because the PNM in charge. They mess up the election process, the selection process for a commissioner, so they could run the show. But then we already know what will happen when the PNM running the show. It will fail. It is doomed to fail, because this country has now inherited the PNM blight. That's why all of us catch me in. In the last 6 years and counting, this PNM government has spent over $320 billion. Are you see that money yet? Not $5 and $10, you know. That's not $1,000. That's not $100,000, you know. You know what $320 billion is? That's 320 million. You know how much zeros that is? But what have you seen for it? I want you all to remember something, because PNM don't want you to remember. But in 2010 to 2015, this country saw growth that we have never seen before. We came to expect growth in every single sphere of activity. Every single sphere. But that's what we had. What we have now. Compare the two PNM. Don't want you to remember all the things that were done then. But things were growing. People were seeing their way. And then this blight named Rowley came. And he bring a banner blight. You mean it can have one of them, not one of them, who could think a little bit for themselves? Not one. It's a whole, it's like to be in the PNM cabinet. You have to be blind, deaf, dumb, dotish, and blight. Is all of them so? Not one. Nah, we are so badly off. It cannot be so. God help me. Something must happen. Because you see, during that time, they're telling you all the issues raised here tonight by my colleagues. All the issues. They're saying they don't have money. They're saying they can't give the local government money to patch roads because they have no money. No money. They spend $320 billion. It's not that they don't have money. It's they don't have money for you. Because Faris get any money, you know. Rohan Singh, as a new name now. Rohan Singh He get money for Kedona, you know. Them getting their money. It's teachers who have to suffer. It's pensioners who have to suffer. It's people like you and me. It's ordinary people in this country who have to pay the price for PNM corruption, mismanagement, and blight. You mean Kamla Prasad Bisesa? She had so much barakat. I don't know what barakat mean. She had so much barakat that when she spent $5, we get drain. When she spend $5, we get school. We get police station. We get police station. Everything is working then. That's barakat. Compare barakat to blight. But let me tell you something. They want you to feel that they don't have no money. They want you to feel that they don't have no money. They want you to understand and accept their lies that this country has no money and therefore you must learn to do with less. You must learn to do it less. I have a newspaper article here. So me making these things up. I'm not here for that. Here's what this newspaper article says. Imbert consulting on how to spend $4 billion from the IMF. This article is dated the 1st of December 2021. It's a Sean Douglas article. This is the newspaper article. You can go back and check it yourself. It's online. $4 billion. TT. 4.6 is the actual figure. It's US 644 million. But $4.6 billion. We can't tell him where to spend our money. He have money sit around in the back pocket and they know how to spend it. He had to go and ask people how to spend money and come to tell you don't have no money. Bring it. Bring it to Approach West. $4.6 billion will fix every single pothole, not just in Approach West, you know, throughout the country. $4.6 billion will fix every road in this country, but not under PNM. Because you see, men have to come on side in cabinet and declare their interests and walk outside because they're making money for themselves, not for you. They're robbing you to feed themselves. $4.6 billion could clean every river course in this country. $4.6 billion could buy laptops over and over and over and over so children don't have to suffer home. Because that's what is happening in these rural communities. Oropouche West still have people, we still have children in this area here who don't have laptops. Some people get laptops and don't have Wi-Fi. That is what we have here. One of my colleagues earlier told you we have people who are depending on potable and on truck-borne water. In this day and age, truck-borne water because they have no pipes running their yard. There are people in this constituency who have electricity. Well, yesterday nobody had. The whole country didn't have. Because you see, PNM, you depend on them, they go out your light. They go out your light, but bear this in mind. As sure as the night follows the day, and the day follows the night, what in darkness will come to light. But you don't have to stress. You see the darkness we're going through here? That is to remind you that soon come the dawn. Soon come the dawn. The lady with barakat, the lady who can make this thing work, come in. I know my colleagues decided that they were going to make recommendations tonight, so you got plenty of recommendations. I have a long speech here, but we're not going to go into that. We got plenty of recommendations tonight. I have one recommendation. I'm going to beat all other recommendations. You see, if it is that to solve issue 1, you need to do this. To solve issue 2, to fix agriculture, we need to go into hydroponics and all of those wonderful things. To create jobs, we need to, as we talk about creating jobs, if they don't know where they're going, how are we going to get there? You must have a system in place where you know where you want to go. So you could then train your people to go there with you. That is not what happening, It's Vike. It's Vike. So my one recommendation, if you know what is wrong, what you have to do? And fix it. And if you think that fixing one piece of a whole rotten will fix the whole thing, you lie. Because even if you fix that good, It could get back rotten again. I told you all before, this whole government blight. The only way to fix the problems facing Oropouche West and this country is to get rid of that blight called the PNM. Get rid of them. I am sure there are PNM members now who hanging their heads in shame. Hanging their heads in shame because the PNM in office don't even care about them. Look at Lavantil. Look at Lavantil. Look what they do with the BTAM. Look what they have done with the BTAM. You see, they're trying to push a narrative that they want us to follow. We say geographic discrimination. Keep Christopher Rowley hear racial discrimination. You know why? When he hear geographic, all he could think in his mind is race. But you see, South is different. We are caring, loving people, not just today. Not just today. The labor movement come from here. We believe in unity. That's not talk. That's not something he could understand either. We don't see race. That's not for we. We are all one people. We believe in this constituency, in this country. Us, we believe in equality. You know what the PNM and Keith Rowley believe in? They believe in inequality. They believe in geographic discrimination. So you want to push race in your head so that you would be afraid to talk. Let me give you an example of what geographic discrimination is. When I first used it, it was because of the allocation of resources. They thought we didn't have figures. They thought we didn't have information. Let me give you the example. I want to name some constituencies and tell you the size. You go see where I'm going with this. Port of Spain South, 7.44 square kilometers in size. That's the constituency. 7.5 then. I'm doing generous. I'm giving him more because 0.44 rounded off is 0.4. That is the size of Port of Spain South. And that area is paved. They have lights everywhere. They have street lights everywhere. Them living a good life. Them have drains. Them have everything. You know how much CPEP gangs them have? 30 CPEP gangs. 30. I'm making a point. So Port of Spain South, 7.4 square kilometers, 30 CPEP gangs. Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, 18 point, a little bit bigger, right? 18.4 square kilometers. You know how much CPEP gangs they have? 27. Again, this is a developed area. San Fernando East, 13 square kilometers. You know how much CPEP gangs they have? 30. San Fernando West, 10.3 square kilometers, 46. Diego Martin Central, you know who is the PM, you know, Mr. Blight himself. Diego Martin Central, 13 square kilometers. You know how much CPEP contractors they have? 24. Lavantil West, 12 square. You understand the point I'm making? Lavantil West have 30. Those are all PNM. All PNM. In areas that are relatively developed because the road infrastructure is there. They have less grass and bush like we do. They're small. They're small. Then you get to Oropouche West, this constituency. 56 square kilometers. Not the 7 in Port of Spain, not the 12 in San Fernando East, or the 10 in San Fernando West. We are all three of them, when you add them up, is the size of here, Oropouche West. You know how much CPEP gangs we have? 12. 30 and 27 and 30. They have between 3 PNM areas which could fit. If you cut them and put them in this constituency, they will fit. They have 60 CPEP gangs. We have 12. 12. You know why? Geographic discrimination. Because who need more CPEP than here? We have high unemployment. We have bush growing up there. We have drains and river courses that needs to be cleaned. But they don't want to give that to Oropouche West. Because you see, when we say geography, they see race. So they feel that they're victimizing we. They're victimizing the whole of the constituency. Everybody getting shaft. And it's not just it is not just the constituency, you know. It is not just the constituency. It is the whole of South that they're victimizing. But it gets even worse than that. It gets even worse. You know, my grandmother used to say worse, worse, and worser. Well, it gets worser than that. Siparia, 157 square kilometers. Bigger than all that. If you add all of them up before, it still has space in Siparia. Them have 12 CPEP contractors. 12. That is the lowest level of bad mind discrimination that you could find anywhere. Anywhere. Pure hate. But they acting normal. Pure hate. So I told you all before that they have money. I told you all before that they have money. Because they're spending $320 billion on spend already. You just will not see it because they are deliberately ensuring that you don't get. That's why we can't get water here. That's why people have to be told you'll get water once for every 9 or 10 days. You'll get water once. In the 21st century under the PNM. That is discrimination for you. That, boy, careful, he's so blight. But that is why you can't get money to fix the drains and the rivers and the flooding. Let me talk about flooding for 1 second again. I think I'm running out of my time. This Rohan Sin. Again, I like to quote newspapers because you see they can run but they can't hide. They can't say that I'm lying. What I'm saying is the honest to God truth. I'm standing up on there. Honest to God truth. Rohan Sinanan, September 21st, last year. All I remember when we protested in Sucha Trace for flooding. Because Sucha Trace every 2 days, rainfall, flood. People lose their livelihoods. People getting up in the morning afraid that centipede by their foot and scorpion and snake. That is what they have people living in. Rohan Sinanan. After 2 consecutive weeks of protest, Works Minister Rohan Sinanan says new pumps have arrived and will be installed to mitigate flooding in the Orpuch drainage basin. This is September. Noting that the 2 pumps arrived in Trinidad last week, Sinanan said that they would be installed at the Tulsa Trace floodgates and at another point in the Orpuch drainage basin. Well, God help me. That is not just sin. That is a francoment lie. That is Rohan Sinanan lying to the population of Trinidad and Tobago. Where the pumps? Where the pumps? Who get paid for it and what they're doing with it? Who get paid for it? It's just like the creek, you know. Is our taxpayers' money going to pay there and to pay to fix? You see the bridge that the landslip that Donald Meru mentioned before in Sign Village? You know, it's 3 times they fix that same landslip. Every time they fix it, you know, somebody here contract to fix it. You know who pay for that? You pay for that. And instead of getting a proper road, you get less. You get less because they believe that that is what you deserve. Well, I'm glad you say it like that, partner, because you read my mind. I have a newspaper. You see, I plenty of quoting, you know. This is not me. And by the way, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, led by Keith Christopher Rowley, has not denied any of the reports that I've raised so far here tonight. You know why? It's true. They can't lie. Well, I shouldn't say they can't lie because them will lie to your face. This article is headed The Cost of Corruption in Trinidad and Tobago. This article. To summarize the article, the head of the Office of Public Procurement, what their job is to do is to go through the contracts and make sure that there's no corruption in the award of the contract. Make sure there's no corruption in the execution of contracts. This gentleman, Mr. Munilal Lalchan, not my colleague Mr. Munilal here, another Mr. Lalchan. Mr. Lalchan said that on average, I'm going to quote what he says so that they don't say that I'm misquoting. Lalchan said While the OPR has work to do in its public outreach, it was important to the national community to understand what savings of up to $5.2 billion could mean. You know where you get that $5.2 billion from? The first paragraph of this newspaper article. Public procurement practices could save this country a conservative $5.2 billion a year, otherwise lost to corruption or inefficiency. You know what that means? Every year, under this PNM, $5.2 billion is lost to corruption. So if they don't have the money to give to pay to fix the roads, to pay to clean the drains, to pay to create employment, oh, for hell, God's sake, stop the corruption. Stop the, you know, if government will only do what they're supposed to do, we wouldn't have to ask a man to sell a goat. We wouldn't have to ask him to do that. But they will not, you know why? Because this corruption feeds who? Friend, family, and financiers. But I want to tell you something. Most people don't understand that. They don't understand what corruption means. They don't understand that. Because as far as they don't see it. They don't see it. But when you get up in the morning and you walk outside and you have flood at your doorstep and snake in your yard and alligator, that's because of corruption. Because if they had the money and spent it where it's supposed to be spent, you wouldn't have flood. When you see a farmer get up in the morning and going outside and looking and everything gone because people thief it, that is PNM caused that.